Oh, well, it's interesting because now I always tell people like, planning is just go with the flow. Planning is going to backfire if you set your mind to something and it doesn't go the way you expect it. You're going to be crushed. So it's like with anything, you're planning a vacation and your flight gets canceled. Well, that's life,
Wow.
But looking back, I really wish that I hadn't been so set in my ways. But I've learned so much since then. I've learned that, just to be incredibly grateful, because there's nothing like a traumatic experience to knock you into your place and make you realize what matters in life. So just going through 3 months in a NICU and praying that your baby's going to survive and come out strong and healthy. I mean, that's all that mattered in that moment. I could care less about my career. I mean, it just, everything took a backseat. It was like, this baby has got to survive. And if I can't go back in time now, I got to look forward. But my perspective changed that day. And I'm so grateful in many ways because I just live with so much gratitude now.
Yeah. And what did that do for your career? I mean, so kind of fast forward for us, a year later, what was going on with you and how did things change?
Well, I can remember, so after 90 days in an incubator, my daughter finally came home, and she came home on oxygen. So we were living in the Mile High City and tugging around a little oxygen tank. We had it on her 24/7. We really didn't go out much, though, to be honest, because we were living in a bubble trying to protect her from outside illness and pollen and all of that.
And you weren't working, so you left. Did you leave your position?
So I had an incredible management team there, and they allowed me to stay home longer than expected because you've got the NICU time and then time to be with your baby when they finally. But eventually they said, what if you come to the show and you leave immediately afterwards? So we cut my schedule down, and I was never able to naturally breastfeed, but I knew how valuable that was. So I managed to pump with a machine for about 8 months and give her this precious,
That's amazing.
nutrition. So I was definitely exhausted. There was a lot of anxiety as how she would develop, and mentally, intellectually, if she'd meet all of her milestones physically. But I was back at work, and everyone would tell me that if you just weren't at altitude, she would be doing so much better. And I knew I needed to get out of there, whether it was coming home to Southern California at sea level, or what happened was I got an opportunity to go to the Weather Channel, and that was getting back lower elevation in Georgia. So the Weather Channel's in Atlanta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. So we decided to take that job, and really after one pretty hard year in Georgia, because we had a brutal winter, she really started to thrive. And I would say by age 3, she was just like every other 3-year-old.
That's amazing. So when you look back and you kind of, hindsight is 2020, and, for what it's worth, I mean, we never know what decisions lead to what. The next chapter of your career, you're at the Weather Channel, and, that's a big deal. That's a national show with a lot of exposure. How did you handle life on, something that was so high profile? Did your perspective kick in and things changed in how you dealt with your day to day, or what did you kind of take with you into that new role and a bigger role?
Yeah.
I'm imagining.
Well, I think at the time I wasn't ready to, give up on my career dreams. And it was such a dream to work at the Weather Channel. That's the mecca for meteorologists. But I remember one thing that really drew me to that job was that I was going to be on an afternoon evening shift. And I just felt like that was better for my own health. And it seemed like, getting out of the news and just focusing on weather was also enticing to me, because I tend to be very sensitive, and living and breathing the news was tough on me. I just wanted to talk about the weather, but I didn't realize how much catastrophic weather was going to be involved. There were definitely a lot of events that bring out a lot of emotion in you when you're live on the air, because people are still losing their lives during weather events. But I have an incredibly supportive husband, and he works from home. And we just thought, this is a great opportunity for us. We put our heads together and decided, well, let's go there. And then you've at least you can say you did it. Yeah. And you reached your dream job as a meteorologist. So it was an amazing time. And in fact, that's when I decided I was ready to have my second child, which scared me because I couldn't imagine going through what I did the first time. But I also just believed that things would be different. And I really wanted to experience a full-term pregnancy.
Mm. So what happened? Were you able to take her to full term?
And beyond.
Wow.
So she was
like, I'm not coming out. It's nice in here.
Yeah. It was such an amazing pregnancy and experience. And I went into it a completely different person. It was 4 years later. I had grown a lot in 4 years. I look back on, that time in Denver, and I just wish I knew what I do today, but we can't go back. But I went into that pregnancy knowing how important self-care was. And I had a high-risk doctor, and we put me on progesterone, and it kept everything very calm. I remember my mom and my grandmother flew out. They weren't going to miss this. So finally going to have this, normal delivery, and we're all going to be there for it. So they come out. I get off of work a month before my due date, because my doctor says, we're taking you off progesterone and you could deliver at any time. It took me off of work. The Weather Channel was great. We don't want the same thing to happen to you. So go take it easy at home. Oh, just enjoyed it so much. And my mom and grandma ended up being there for 3 weeks because she just wouldn't come out. And then eventually she came late. They had to induce me, but I had a second daughter, 7 pounds, 8 ounces. And it was just amazing.
That's so amazing. Awesome. So how did you take care of yourself in your second pregnancy? In terms of, obviously you were managing stress differently, and you knew what to expect going into it. So you asked for that help, it sounds like, from the people around you and from your workplace. But in terms of taking care of yourself with how you ate and how maybe you exercised, what was different, if anything?
I think I took a lot of time to rest. I knew I already have a full-time job and have to turn it on in front of national television. And I was very open about to everyone about what had happened the first time around. So they knew not to push me in any way. And I have pictures of me just sitting with my feet up, 7 months into my pregnancy at the anchor desk. Like, I'm just going to hang out here till the next show. And yeah. I was in such a peaceful state because I had made it. Once I made it past that 27-week mark when my daughter was born, my first daughter, I just knew that everything was going to be okay. Like, I'm already there. And now things are just going to get better and better each day. I feel like it was more of a mental place of peace that I had that time around that really helped me, because I was such a worrier and an anxious person and a people pleaser. And I had to do a lot of work around that to realize that's not getting me anywhere. Yeah. So we eat very healthy. So I feel like that was always a good part of my routine. But yeah, it's just certainly, it's like staying hydrated, really getting rest, and being on the right shift at my job was important.
Yeah, I think, you bring something up that I know for me has been a learning process too. And I think wisdom does come with experience and age, but
Right.
Not being embarrassed or feeling lazy to rest. I think we live in a society that it's almost like the more you do, the more accomplished you are, and like the more you should be applauded. When in fact, if you don't rest, you're not nearly as productive or creative or effective. And it does have a huge impact on your health. So, I think this is a really important thing for people to take away. And that level of self-care, being able to just put your feet up and say, look, I'm taking a little break for me, makes a huge difference. I've discovered the value of a 10-minute nap. 10 to 20, you know what I mean? Like it's amazing what it can do to refresh you.
Yes. And, I just celebrated my 4th birthday yesterday.
Woo-hoo!
And I feel like I'm still learning how to be more aware and practice mindfulness and take time for me. And each year I just try to add more to that, and it makes for a better life. I mean, I didn't know anything about meditating back during, my pregnancies. Wish I did, because even 10 minutes with a recorded meditation is huge, because we don't recharge ourselves enough. And I was burning the candle at both ends. I mean, I just thought I had to go, 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 go. I didn't know how to stop. I didn't want to sit with my thoughts ever. I just wanted to stay busy. Being busy it's not all that it's cracked up to be, I actually prefer to sit down and read a book now, because it quiets my mind.
Yeah, being busy is not necessarily being productive. It's
exactly.
So second child, you are a busy career woman with 2 beautiful girls, and you're like, okay, I'm like killing it on the Weather Channel. This is like my big goal. And then what? What happened after that?
Oh, so I was nearing the end of my Weather Channel contract, and
How long were you
just
there
knew
for?
I was there 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Had my baby there, which, gosh, looking back, it seemed like so much longer, because we had so many great experiences. And during that time, they were letting us go up and fill in on the Today Show. So it was just checking all those boxes. It can't get any better than this. I mean, MSNBC, Nightly News, Today Show, we had so many doors open to us. NBC had a partnership with the Weather Channel. So I'm so glad I was there at that time, met the most incredible people, and, inside out, not just what you see on the air, but the Southern hospitality and the Southern way
it's real.
It's so real.
Yeah.
And I still dream about some of those days and conversations and experiences that we had. But I knew in my gut, there we go, trusting your gut, that I needed to be with my family. I had 2 beautiful daughters. My youngest, we named her Savannah, and Savannah had a special place in our family. My mom was actually born in Savannah, Georgia. I was living in Georgia at the time. And my mom really felt a connection to both my girls, but she's over here in San Diego. Mm. And even with my oldest being a toddler, it was hard to travel a lot with her, because in the beginning years, she would get sick a lot and very easily. And we'd be on breathing treatments and ear infections. And it was constant for those beginning years. And I wanted to just park it in a sunny environment and not have to travel as much. Mm-hmm. And it would be 1 or 2 times a year that we'd get to make the trip from the other side of the country here. It was just too much. So we decided it was time to come back here. My husband's family's in San Diego as well, and we really wanted them to be close to our parents. And family has always come first for me. So I've made every decision for my family. And we came back. I had an opportunity to go to NBC Los Angeles, back on a morning show, which was a little nerve-wracking because of what I had gone through in Denver, but we were done having children and I was in a